Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday. It's Friday. Woohoo! Once again, we are playing Roadwarden by Moral Anxiety Studios. We've been enjoying this. We have been enjoying this game. So, as you can see from the splash screen that we have starting off today, it says the fellowships are united in their love for independence, community, and modesty. They embrace their unique traditions and beliefs. There's always a piece of lore about the world on this splash screen, so that's why I like to show it in the beginning, because it's fun. But here we are. We are in Gale Rocks. We have just met the head woman, and we have all the questions in the world to ask. So that's where we're at today. So let me grab this caption out of the way. Silly caption. You don't need to be there anymore. And we'll getting on. Hi guys, welcome in. Dragoon! Nice of you to join us. Welcome in, guys. Goodness, I'm feeling the love this morning. Well, this afternoon, I suppose. It's afternoon for me, it's morning for some of you. And evening for others. So, Winter Fairy, Dragon, Spark, Trav, Dragoon, welcome. As most of you know, the way we run this is I do a lot of reading, and then we get to decision-making time, and I ask my chat what they want to do, and they vote. And then we do the consensus. If there is a tie, I will either ask for a tiebreaker or I will make decisions. They will not always be good decisions. Woe be unto chat who makes me make decisions, but some of you seem gleefully excited to do so anyway, so we'll do this as we like. I know, Dragoon is here. So, just to catch some people up who have not been in before, our character's name is Sauron, the Roadwarden. After years of training to become a fighter, he's decided to help the local villages and to make this region safer for locals and newcomers alike. We are in a northern peninsula, the northern sea edge of which is not easily you can't bring a boat. It just doesn't work out so well. Oh, Miss Ma'am. Yes, we know that Winter Fairy's Miss Ma'am is getting in two teeth right now. She is not a happy baby, but she's doing her best. So we will just you'll just have to put up with the fact that you are now a teething toy. We currently have 2 out of 4 vitality, which is not great, but not terrible. We have plenty of nourishment. Our armor's as good as we can get currently without finding some spider silk for those who are arachnophobic. Yes, there are spiders in the game. No, you're unlikely to see a picture of it, but the description will be there. We're pretty clean right now. We're as clean as we can get because we haven't bought all the cleaning things. We have slight combat experience. We have spared a family of dusk foxes. We are pagans. We believe in nature and spirits. That is our bag, but our faith is currently undetermined. We have never told a lie in our life. Absolutely none. 0 lies. This is a no-lie playthrough so far. We have no sewing experience nor gambling experience either. So that is where we're standing. We have some stuff in our inventory. We've got some food. We got some iron scraps that we're gonna sell later. We have this old blanket that we just stole from some monkeys. We got a key to somewhere. We don't have access to that place. We named our horse Soda Pop. Just FYI. She is a mare. Palfrey. We do have a fishing trap. It's currently at the ruined village. We should probably check it at some point in the future. We've got a gamison, rope, some odds and ends, including a nice piece of soap. That's our only extra cleaning material. And we just acquired ourselves a shield, so hopefully we will die less. All right. So here we are. We're going to start reading now. It's going to be a fun time. She raises her violet eyes, but only for a moment. I'm not interested in your apologies, and don't spend time chatting, barring merchants. Her accent is not as thick as that among the younger villagers, keeping a shadow of the years when the guild had tighter ties with the peninsula. But since she has no teeth, you have to think for a moment before you recognize some of her words. What do you want? Her face slowly shifts into indifference, and still holding her stylus, she once again bends over her tablet. So, we've got all of this. There are many things that we can ask about. Farewell will, of course, leave the conversation, so that is not a current choice. We can go from top to bottom. We can go from bottom to top. We can go every other question, every 3 questions. I'm not even going to let you guys pick with numbers and cherry pick the questions. It's top to bottom, bottom to top, every 2, every other, every 2, or every 3. You guys vote. So long as at least 3 to 4 people weigh in on it, I will go with the majority. If there is no majority, I will choose, and everyone will suffer my consequences. First vote is for top to bottom. What does the rest of chat want? 2 votes for top to bottom. It's currently in the lead. There is the opportunity to tie it. All right, top to bottom is the consensus. Good job, chat. Good job. Way to be on the same page. So, I will start and we will do lots of reading. I'd like to get inside the watchtower standing at the eastern road. She and the perfumed guard exchange looks. Why would I give you a key? You mentioned that looking after roadside shelters is part of your responsibilities, and she smirks, raising her hand slightly. Ah, you don't say. We're not old pagos. One's duty means nothing here until a soul proves they can be trusted. All right, we gotta prove ourselves, just like everywhere else. The village of Old Pagos is struggling with a plague and isolates itself from trade and travelers. She looks at the perfumed man, who's standing with an open mouth. You glance at the crossbow woman, who has lowered her weapon. The head woman, still without a word, leans forward and rests her head on the back of her hand. Her guard tries to speak, but she looks at him with sorrow. Let me think, she states, and after less than a minute tells him to gather the council once your meeting is over. We will say nothing. What are your thoughts on Cassia? The thought I'm bearing right now is that I'd rather not spread rumors about those I look after. Her annoyed eyes contradict her calm voice. Can't you bother the elders with such questions, or speak with Petronius, the gossip? He'll be happy to share with you all the dirty laundry he touched. That is someone we can ask about when we get back to that point, so try to remember that name, chat. All right, Dragon. Thanks for jumping in and enjoy the lurk. I always love my lurkers. Not everyone has to participate in the votes. It's an optional fun thing that we do here, but I appreciate everyone who comes, so thank you guys for coming. Well, maybe I will. I've heard about some necromancers in the north. You almost jump away when the crossbow woman shifts her position, but she turns out to just be uncomfortable with the way she's sitting. Severina smirks, but as she starts to speak, her voice grows worried. What happens in White Marshes is a sign of cowardice and weakness. I've seen my share of harsh years, and I sympathize. I do. With tribes that had to feed their people with tree bark and decide which mother will eat enough to feed infants. But all of them walking corpses will get out of the charms and murder their masters like they always do. And instead of hunger and cold, they'll face the end of their souls. All we can do is keep ourselves safe. You try and ask a few more questions, but to no avail. We don't really travel there often, stranger, and some of the knowledge we gathered on this place is for our ears alone. I nod. She can't trust that I will keep anything between us. My patience runs short, outsider. Severina gestures for you to pause. Are you sure other matters can't wait till tomorrow? Do we say farewell, or do we test her patience and say there's something else we need to discuss? You told me about the Bardomancer just the other day, Dragon. That sounds like a fun time. Have fun with that. Trav votes not to antagonize Severina. What does the rest of chat want to vote? Fantastic, Dragon. Enjoy your new character. I have 3 votes for Fine Farewell. Anyone else want to weigh in? Have fun getting ready for work, Dragon. Be safe getting to work, please. All right, we're the vote is Fine Farewell. All right. A group of children are playing only a few steps away from you, but in the process, one of them drops a pouch of salt on the ground, causing a stir. Let's go look for the guy that was mentioned. Okay, it must be in the archive then. Petronius. I wish I could copy pasta that, but okay. I am looking for Petronius. Assuming I have spelled that correctly. Woohoo! I did it. Thanks, Trav. I really should figure out how to spell one of these days, or at least type straight, but you know, long nails does not help with typing. Does not ever. I need to chop them all off again. They grow like weeds. Anyway, thanks, Dragon. We're having fun today. It's Friday. It's Friday fun day. So here we go. You realize there's been someone following you around, or at least accidentally showing up wherever you go. Bored with walking around? He spares you a smirk. He's a short man dressed in a worn gray-black woolen robe, with a belt as wide as your hand, and a buckle decorated with a large shell, now placed annoyingly just 2 inches away from the center of his stomach. He may be only 30, but it's clear why he has no tasks to bother with. His fingers are paralyzed at unnatural angles, spread like an oyster tree's branches. While he's capable of moving around both of his arms slightly, they are constantly bent at the elbows and at the wrists. He's wearing no boots. I've got a few questions. Oh no. I know. He nods for you to follow him and leads you to the orchard where you stay in the shadow of a cherry tree. Right. He looks around, scowling at the nearby kid who instantly turns around and gets out of your sight. Name's Petronius. I can be your guide. His soft voice is close to a whisper. 1 coin, 1 question. He looks at the small leather sack hanging from his neck. No backsies. You decide my answers aren't worth it, you stop asking. Why do you need coins? He lowers his arm a bit, as if trying to hide them. Why? He clears his throat and straightens up, though it doesn't make him much taller. Why don't you pay first? Ooh, we don't have any coins. We spent them all, my dude. Let's talk later. Alright, well, we know about the gossip. We found the tailor, the armor, the head woman, the bathman. We've even found a place to sleep. Although I don't know why this is not showing up as an option to click on, but it isn't. It's a little too close to the end of the day to travel. Well, maybe not. We could... Yeah. We will not... Nope. Yeah, there's nowhere... We could get to the old tunnel. That's not going to help us. But we cannot get to anywhere else before nightfall. Yeah. Let's not try our luck. Yeah, he's an information broker. I mean, I can understand why he asks for coins for information, because he is unable to labor. Therefore, He needs to make a living somehow. Not great. I can see why he's an info broker. I can. It's just we have no money, so there are still more wares that this village has to offer. So let's fish. Hey, look, fish works. You head to the building that releases not only smoke, but also the smell of roasting meat and spices. In front of it, you find a sweating, wrinkled woman with a shaved head and a simple rag-like band on her hips, and another one restricting her breasts tightly, as if any movement outside of her control would be too much of a risk to take. She doesn't even spare you a glance, too busy with mixing ingredients in bowls and cutting vegetables on wooden boards. Her eyes are focused, but whenever she tilts her head high enough for you to see her face, you spot her subtle yet challenging smile. Inside the building, you find another few people, most of them elders, as well as a large fireplace that is smoking a few dozen hanging fish. When one of the cooks currently scaling a fresh fish notices you, he lowers his head and, with a bored voice, addresses the woman. Portia, you have an outsider, you do. The woman turns towards you in the blink of an eye, standing on spread legs as if her shell can't spare you more than a single flinch. Didn't notice you there, stranger. You hungry? She reaches for a bowl, but stops suddenly. Right, we serve more than 100 stomachs, we do, so better give me a reason. Such as... Everyone works for their share. Join them. She points at the people inside the hollowed cave, but after a few moments, she shakes her head left and right and gets back to her work. Or pay me a dragon, I guess. It'll land in the keep's chest. Your group cooks for the entire village. She grins towards you. Right, safer than fishing, and you know. She squeezes her revealed stomach, which is unusually flat. You notice how muscular her arm is. I move a lot, so I can eat a lot. She lets out a chuckle, then moves a large basket of freshly cleaned apples inside the building. I have only a few years before my back gives up, but I've done enough to deserve my slower days. Cassia must be having some extra large meals if she's as much of a fighter as she claims. More of her fables? If she keeps getting caught sleeping in the middle of her shift, she'll soon be happy to get any scraps at the end of the day. We don't have patience around here for the lazy ones. She gives you a harsh look and turns towards her cutting board. Well, I'd like a meal, but we can work for 2 hours, pay for it, or barter with the 3 bunches of wild plants that we've picked up. I actually want to barter, primarily because food rations are far more valuable to us than the wild plants that will spoil pretty soon if we don't start eating them now. That seems like a great thing. Also, working for the next 2 hours and then finding sleep would be a perfect way to end the day. So, chat, what do you guys think? I've got 2 people who are like, yes, barter away, please, and thank you. Anybody else want to weigh in? Feel free. Discuss amongst yourselves. I will drink some water. Another vote for barter. Well. Yeah, Trav agrees with my assessment to the situation. So we're going to barter. We're going to barter these 3 bunches of wild plants. That's going to be great. We've bartered for a food ration. I think it only got us 1, but that's all right. Or, well, no, we're up to 8 food rations. We've got a glut of travel food. That's great. And then we're going to work for 2 hours and get a meal. Because why not? You help the cooks wash the dishes and cauldrons, keep the fire alive, cut vegetables, move the barrels, and bring water from the river, then sit down at a table. You join a few other people who eat fish soup from large seashells, as well as carrots and slices of melons piled in the center of the table. That was a good meal. Look at that. We are full and happy. And then, since it is basically an hour before dusk, we will step away. But now we know the cook. There's still more people that we can find. Is there a trader? A young carrier chuckles. And what would you buy? Without a wagon and donkeys? We sell barrels of fish, sacks of salt. When a caravan comes, we empty a warehouse, then fill it up again with food. When you ask her if she's sure there's nothing useful that a lone traveler could get in such a large village, she seems a bit embarrassed. Well, we have a weaponsmith, but he doesn't sell any blades to outsiders. But maybe Rufina the tailor? All right, that's enough for now. We've been to the tailor. We have no money to spend there. What other wares would... Which person or service are you looking for? What other... I suppose we could ask about the guard. The guard you met when you first arrived at the village is leaning against a wall, observing both the gates and your mount. Whenever... Yeah, nope. What? I walk away. We don't really want to talk to that person. They don't have a stable. We'll ask anyways. There's only one animal pen in the entire village, and not a very large one. In front of the thatched shed, you find a few ibexes, boars, and a large group of pheasants, whose pinioned or clipped wings make it impossible for them to cross the wall, though not the fence. Some of them have already left the enclosure, and the locals let them wander about. Okay, what else? What else could we want? Keeper doesn't acknowledge your arrival until you call her. After she leaves the dark tunnel, she says nothing, waiting patiently. And we don't really have anything to say. Not really. They just have, like, cave rooms that they offer. There's still more wares about this village. What about trinkets? Nope. Priest. Ha! First person you speak with, a young Cooper on the brink of adulthood, tells you to follow her to the western bank. Our priest vanished when I was merely this little. She holds her hand to the height of her chest. But my family still prays at the temple, every midday. It's one of the oldest caves in the village, she says with unmasked pride. You move past the thatched shed, the smelly kitchen, and around the fortified hill, approaching a humble orchard and what seems to be a training ground for fighters, then descend into a small basin towards small caves hidden in shadows. The girl enters the mouth without a door. I enter after her and look around. At this hour, there are only two other souls in sight, an elderly man napping on a blanket spread in one of the rounded corners, and a boy who stops his prayer once you come inside and quickly leaves, giving you an embarrassed look. The cave is lit by a few oil lamps with flames surrounded by dyed glass, but the chamber couldn't fit more than 30 people, even if they were all standing. There are a few stone benches, an altar, and a large, though crude, hourglass made of bronze. Clean as new. You recognize the gentle hum of a creek somewhere below you. The girl glances at your neck, then observes the sacred symbol on the wall in silence. I nod and step outside. All right, we found the temple. Yeah, they follow the rite. They're the Order of the Rite, much like the monastery and Old Pagos, which is fine. I mean, we're a druid, we're a pagan, but it's fine that they believe in what they believe. We don't care. We're happy that they have faith, I guess. It's not ours. I'm just trying to figure out what all the wares are. Is there anything else that my journal can tell us? Yeah, they have a small temple. Yeah, I don't have more. Yeah, we don't judge. They certainly do. Well, unless somebody else has an idea of someone we could look for, a service or a person, I think this is where we finish. So we might as well just go to sleep because it's the end of the day. It's time for the sleep. An elder allows you to spend the night in crude conditions. In return, she requires an absurd payment or half a day of your labor. And, well, labor it is. We're laboring. We don't have any choice. The rains once again hit the ground, interrupting your sleep. Another day of muddy roads. After Fulvia blows out the candles, without considering if you're ready for it, you are in complete darkness, and you only now realize how quiet this room is. The thick walls block the humming of the wind, birds, the river. The keeper heads to her own room, and you only occasionally hear the whispers or snores of other dwellers. How do we feel sleeping underground in a cave? Does our imagination sculpt terrifying creatures in the darkness, and it takes me a while before I calm down? Do we grow anxious as we focus on our breath and then on the beating of our heart? Do we hold on to our dagger and focus on the touch of our blanket? Or do we finally find some peace? Travis started the vote off with 4. Peace. Imagination, anxiety, focus, or peace. Winter Fairy says focus. What does the rest of chat think? Please, please. 3 to 4 people. You weigh in, I will take the consensus vote. Come on, Spark, I know you can do it. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Imagination, anxiety, focus, or peace. Keyword or number, whichever you prefer. I have 2 votes for 4. It's true, Dragoon. Most people do not feel comfortable with absolute silence. We are a herd mammal. We like the sounds of other people nearby. We just like it. So that is a vote for 2. The 4s have it in this instance, but thank you everyone for voting. I love to hear everything you guys have to say. Finally, some peace. You wake up surrounded by darkness. The keeper is sitting outside next to the open door. The fishers are getting ready, they are. Go ask someone where you can load the wagons, she says slowly, as if you're meant to repeat these exact words. You're freed from your duties after a few hours of work before you get a backache. You sit on a bench. Some of the locals slow down to observe you, but whenever you meet their eyes, you find a challenge, not amity. Amity. Really, I can read. I swear I can. I promise I did well in school. The pillars of smoke start to rise above the buildings. Many of the workers have already left the village. The remaining adults are either outside carrying timber, food, or other wares, or in their workshops, the largest of which are open air. The sounds of work muffle the conversation, so you mostly hear the shouts of children and overseers. We're looking for work. A young fisher with a broken arm mentions that her overseer, Photios, was planning to make a trip outside the village. Maybe he could use your help. Cool, I will go talk to Photios. You're told that the fishers spend long hours at the beach in the north and can be found in the village only during the very early or very late hours, unless the weather makes fishing too dangerous. Is it that I didn't? Nope. Okay, that's enough for now. We missed Photios because it's later in the day, so we could travel. We could go talk to the village headwoman again. We didn't get all of our questions answered, so perhaps that might be the best idea. let's actually go get food first. We've got time. Let's go eat. Fulvia mentioned Cassia is your sister. She puts away her tools, leans away, and meets your eyes. You try to hire her for something, all right? She's difficult. Taught herself lies, said with a strong voice and confident chest, can take one far, but that ain't a good path in a tribe. Like all souls, she has good sides and bad sides, but is too afraid to admit the latter. You chat for a few minutes. While the tailor's words are harsh, she can't hide the sadness of her voice. What can you do for me? Oh, I didn't actually mean to go here. We don't have the money. Thanks. I tried to go to the cook, but it took me to the tailor. Interesting. I'd like a meal, please. We're just gonna work for a couple of hours. We could just eat our rations, but I'd rather for those elsewhere. Look, that was fantastic. You help the cooks wash the dishes and cauldrons, keep the fire alive, cut vegetables, move the barrels, bring water from the river, and then sit down at a table. So yeah, we're like wasting the day in work, but that's okay. We're gonna go to the bath. He's not willing to speak about Cassia, but we just want to not be so gross. And that works out for us. We are now clean and tidy. Thank you very much. So now we can go talk to the head woman. Look gross. You ascend the hill, and the guard stands up, puts his woodwork on his pillow, then asks you to wait. You hear his coming from the hall, and once the man returns, he nods gently. You're asked to enter, and I follow him inside. Severina puts away her writing instruments and sighs, but doesn't say anything. Her violet eyes are absent. Considering that the people of your village follow the right, I'm surprised you're not pressured into taking action against the undead of White Marshes. And what do you think we ought to do? Encourage them by taking their land or startle their wild game? Maybe torch their roofs? She takes an awkwardly long pause, yet as you start to answer, she instantly cuts in. We have no plans to conquer or pillage their home, and while some of us would like to take matters into their own hands, I ain't risking our lives in battle with mere heretics. Without walls, we'll have nothing to keep us safe. I say nothing, expecting for her to interrupt me again. The village face any struggles with the bandits? She looks at her guard, then around her. Have you noticed where we are? We're safe enough to fight a dragon, and if there are any bandits in our woods, they eat nothing barring timber and worms. Whenever we trade, we send groups of 10, 20 souls strong, enough to push away a few footpads. I spend a lot of time traveling between places. Do you have any work for me? She runs her eyes over you, then frowns without as much as a hint of subtlety. Show me first that you're worth something. Work with our fishers. Find someone seeking a messenger. I don't need a stranger before autumn, when we'll trade for winter grain. What can you tell me about the tunnel south from here? I can tell you that the venerable Digger Luno will tell you more about it than you want to hear, she will. Before the war, it used to be crossed every 10-20 days, enough for us to keep it garrisoned. But with how little use it has now, I'd be mad to ask any of our youth to throw themselves at the beasts that live there. She glances at an open pouch that's lying just nearby, with a few dragon bones sticking out of it. Her toothless grimace is hard to read. And don't offer me your services to merely get rid of the awoken. I need long-term solutions, not violence. And sooner or later, another threat will take their place. It may just as well stay occupied. At least no vagabonds will take it over. If you say so. It's a good thing we didn't get very far in there. My patience runs short, outsider. Severina gestures for you to pause. Are you sure other matters can't wait till tomorrow? We only have a few questions left. Dare we upset her further, or shall we head out? We still have enough time to get elsewhere if we want to. We've got 5, almost 6 hours left in the day. Or we could spend another day here, but it seems like everything takes a lot of time. All right. It looks like chat basically wants to head out, so we will just be like, bye. All right, we haven't found all the services this village has to offer, but we are gonna head out while we still have some time. We could get back to Foggy's Lake, or we could continue moving in this direction. We could so we could go northwest, we can go east, or we can go south. We may end up having to come back to Gale Rocks very quickly afterwards, but we have 3 directions to go in, so... Winter Fairy says east. What does the rest of chat think? As long as 3 or 4 people weigh in, I will go with the consensus. There are things to do in other places, sure, but we can't get really anywhere save Foggy's in enough time to sleep. I mean, we could go back to Foggy's. That's no big deal. I have 2 votes for East. That looks like to be the majority. East it is. We will just head east and then probably end up back at Foggy's for a nice meal and a nice rest. The road east is beaten and clean, with enough space to fit 2 wagons side by side. You pass by a few plum trees, apple trees, and cherry trees, but many more stumps, likely belonging to what has been turned into Foggy Lake. The life of the plains is busy and loud, but so far you don't see any lurking beasts. Judging from the many trampled parts of the meadows and the fresh food trails, the foragers searched this corner of the peninsula quite often. They didn't leave behind much. You reach a shining pond at the edge of the forest. You ride beneath 2 trimmed trees growing on the opposite sides of the path, like columns leading you to Right's temple. Shouts and heavy steps prepare you for the trouble ahead. 2 shells are circling around each other. One of them is a 4-legged saurian with gray skin, as long as your palfrey, but only knee-high. It's wandering left and right along the bank, hissing repetitively, sticking its split tongue out and then retracting it. The stout monster doesn't look like a born hunter of humans, but its long tail is swinging like a whip, for now only threateningly so. But you don't doubt that getting hit by it would likely break your bones. The second one belongs to a brown-skinned man wearing leather pants, a long brown woolen cloak, and a matching pelt of a wolf on his head and shoulders, like a haunting hood. His voice is both gentle and scared, and he's stretching his hands in front of him, trying to make the beast stay away as if it's a mouflon. A third shell is right in the middle between the other 2, a creature you don't recognize from a distance, but it is in a puddle of its own blood and isn't moving. So, do we jump on the ground and rush to help, axe in hand, or do we ride slowly, taking a closer look at the entire situation? 1 or 2, axe or ride? Number or keyword? I will take either. Tell me, true chat, which decision will we do? Rhyme intended. I have 3 votes for 2, which is currently the majority, currently the consensus. Unless anyone else wants to weigh in and has a particularly useful bit of thought process. I believe we will ride slowly and take a closer look at the entire situation. You stand up in the saddle to have a better view and realize that the corpse on the ground is but that of a white ibex. The man, who acknowledges your presence with a nod, speaks with a hint of playfulness in his voice, asking the saurian to be so nice as to stay away. He then turns towards you and points at the prey. "Friend, lend me a hand, will you? I'm trying to seize it." As you dismount, the saurian takes a step closer to the pond. We have the friendly response. "How can I help?" We have the playful response. "I don't think your ibex can be helped, kind stranger." We have the distance response. I frown, raising my weapon. Why? It would be easier to catch something by yourself. I have the intimidating response. Just step away. I'm not going to help you die for a scrap of meat. Or I have the vulnerable response. I breathe out with relief. I thought the beast killed someone. One, two, three, four, or five. Friendly, playful, distanced, intimidating, or vulnerable. I have the start off of the vote with friendly. However, the stranger was playful, so perhaps being playful back might go in our favor. That's a thought. Unfortunately, just the intimidating response is that one, Trav. The playful response is, I don't think your ibex can be helped. I have 2 votes for friendly, 1 vote for playful, 2 votes for playful. Which means that unless somebody new wants to speak up and be a tiebreaker for me, I have to choose. And I may not choose any of the ones that voted for. If chat is very wise, they will not make me vote. Seems the lurkers are going to lurk. So no one has to change their vote, Dragoon. I've had people flip the vote before, and honestly, if they want to vote the way they want to vote, they can. I can make the decision. It's just I like to guilt my chat into making it for me. Decisions are hard. But actually, I think I'm going to do the playful response just because I'm amused by it. So thanks, guys. You don't have to flip your votes. You're just fine. He tilts his head, then lets out a chuckle. Nah, not mine was the kill, and I'm no beast breeder. He points at his hat as if it's meant to be proof of some sort. The brown mouth resting on his forehead is quite distracting. But there's food in the middle of the road. How can I look away? This ibex is our destiny, friend. After a short pause, he whispers, Say, do you have any fruit in those sacks? Throw some at it. He points at the beast. We do not have any fruit. Um, why would I care about fruits? It has a whole ibex to eat. Just trust me, he grumpily whispers. It hunts only when there's nothing better for it to pick. They live on trees, you know? You look at the saurian shell, wet from water in which it was which it was sitting not so long ago. The man notices your gaze. I'm almost sure. So, we can say there's no way a few apples would work. Sai, look at our weapon. I'll distract it. You grab the ibex and drag it away. Or this is really not worth the risk. Trav starts off the vote with 4. It's not worth the risk. This guy is clearly an idiot. Dragoon agrees. Yeah, we have no idea what his hat signifies in the least. It looks like the majority of chat is all about not worth the risk. This guy's an idiot. So, no, we're not helping you. Well, not with that attitude. He takes a deep breath and raises a finger and then steps away from the corpse. My home is this way, in creeks. You comin'? Before you answer, he turns around and heads uphill. The Saurian observes him for a moment, but you can't read anything in its eyes. Once you grab the reins and lead your mount forward, the beast doesn't waste any time. It puts the ibex's head into its mouth as if it's trying to swallow the entire creature at once. I catch up with the man. You leave the pond behind and approach the woods. Even from a distance, you can see a distinct trail leading between the trees. It's not a forest garden, but it's not bad. With every word, the man's voice gets more cheerful. It's not that gloomy, and I haven't seen a cat there in a year. But with no cats, there are boars there now. And as there are boars, there are also more gargoyles. He sighs. His steps get lighter, and so he leaps forward and bows to you, showing you the tip of its furry hood. Better not go too deep, kind traveler. There are no roads there. His face is not much older than 20, shaved with great care, cleaner even than among the city folk. With his hood and heavy cloak masking his figure, he seems well fed and healthy. So, how do we respond to this unknown gentleman? I'm not a pathfinder, the wilderness isn't for me, or, well, one can never know where their path will lead them. One or two. Not a pathfinder, or where their path will lead. Sparks starts off the vote with 2. What's the rest of chat like? Trav, also 2. The 2s have it. Wow, you guys are on it now. Well, one can never know where their path will lead them. Aye, the spirits can be nastier than a sack of ape shit. But from all the places, I'd be glad to be led to creeks. We don't starve. The work is hard, but there are no merchants above us, and it's a gorgeous place, you know. You'll love it. Do we smile and say I'm sure I will, or we'll see. Don't ruin the surprise. 1 or 2, chat. 1 or 2. What shall we do? Trav starts off the vote with 1. And 1 and 1. We have a consensus of 1. So, we're going to smile and say, I'm sure I will. The road is gentle, but the man is incapable of being silent. Every unusual tree seems to be tied to a story from his life, and he makes sure that you notice the first stream you cross on a new solid bridge. One of many creeks, you see, he says with untamed amusement. A thin gorge leads you between the mountains. So, is this place quite susceptible to bandits, or does it truly feel like an end of the realm? I believe we have almost made it to creeks. So, 1 or 2. Bandits or end? Numbers are keywords. You guys know the drill by now? Surely. I would hope so. Looks like we have the start of the vote is 2, which is currently in the lead. I mean, it probably is pretty easy to attack, but it looks like the 2s have it, so it truly feels like an end of the realm. You follow the trail of shouts and laughter. 7 people, about 20 years old each, are gathered at the wooden bridge, leaning against the rail, bathing in the stream, lying on the grass. Pieces of clothing made of fur and leather are spread around next to cudgels and throwing clubs. Once the sound of hooves manages to break through the chattering, the curious young eyes, untouched by wartime, turn towards you, and an excited whisper spreads. The shells are proudly displayed, and the confident smiles are both inviting and challenging. How's water? The hunter greets his tribe folk while stepping on the logs. Gentle and warm, says a man resting on his friend's shoulder. Caught any squirrels? There are paths leading in many directions, but the main road will take you uphill. Do we find this awkward as we walk past naked people to look at the watchtower? Or there's no reason for me to be embarrassed, so I look at them? 1 or 2? Awkward or look? You guys tell me. We haven't been back for the bird hunt yet. We will probably do that tomorrow. We just sort of kind of finished Gale Rock's count. But yeah, it looks like we are not embarrassed at all. We are open-minded here. The light dances on wet hair, both on their heads and crotches, luring your eyes just as much as the revealed chests and muscular arms. You've interrupted not just their bath. The soul who's speaking with your guide is embracing another man as he's sitting behind him, while one of the women is keeping her arms around the waist of yet another man. You hardly see any wounds or marks caused by sickness. The harshest days of this group are still ahead. As you move your eyes from one person to another, they greet you with smiles and nods, and the ones you walk by on the bridge shift their stances, allowing you to see even more. Once you step off the logs, the hunter chuckles. Seeking warmth, aye. The youth here think more about wooing than traveling in beast, but that's good. Means they're healthy. They're vain as birds, though. You won't find much to talk about with them. As you look behind, you're not so sure he's right. Indeed. I nod to the group, then follow the man. The palisade is as tall as trees, but being placed on the top of crags makes it look impassable. What? Why is the gate closed? The hunter turns to the watchtower and repeats his question only louder. Maybe call Ela? Too blind to see we have a guest, aye? A hardy visible guard with a female voice leans from the tower. He's coming, Howler, relax. Her shouts hint of no patience towards him. The youth dine in the woods after the bath. Why wouldn't we close? The man glances at you. Do we wait patiently, or do we ask about who was mentioned? We've got 2 votes for 1, wait patiently, and a vote for 2. Ask question. Ask who. What does the rest of chat think? Oh no. There's a 2 and 2 now. Half of the voters want 1 and half of the voters want 2, which means that either Count will be the tiebreaker or I will have to choose. All right, the ones have it. We will wait patiently. They argue for a good minute, and you realize it's just friendly banter. You don't recognize some of their jokes, referencing events and people you've never met. Their accent resembles Foggy's, but is thicker, and you'll have to get used to it. Don't let Ephron talk you to death, friend, the soul from the tower shouts to you as the gate opens. And then we enter the village. The sparse clumps of grass survive only on the edges of the spacious yard. The few onlookers wear working clothes, suitable for their hard labor. They're carrying tools, planks, and logs. You're next to a large building of unusual shape, either a temple or a house or a house of gathering. It makes you think of a cabin that's been getting larger over the course of the years, with the section in the middle being darker and more crude than the outer ones. A slightly overweight man is standing in front of the building with open arms. Welcome to Creeks, friend. His voice and eyes are gentle, but there's vigor in his stance and gestures. Ephron was meant to hunt, but I see he brought a very unusual creature. The hunter rolls his eyes. Don't embarrass us with this prattle. He then raises his voice. I almost brought us an ibex, but this traveler was no help. Long story. At least I tried. Ela's smile gets replaced by a raised eyebrow. I trust you made the right decision, friend. While I introduce myself, I observe him more closely. Being close to 30 years old, he's one of the older souls around, just like the other villagers. He has clothes made of animals, not plants. The leather pants and jacket are humble, but the shoulder cape, reaching from his neck to elbows, used to belong to a yellow elk. His brown skin is darker than that of a farmer, and as you look at the outstretched hands, they carry the marks of being cut by tools. I'm Ela, the carpenter. He takes a step forward toward the fruit trees and invites you to move forward. Like most men in the village, he's cleanly shaved. How about I show you the rest of the village? It may be humble, but it's as beautiful as a blue starling. So, we have the friendly answer. Thanks, Ela. That sounds lovely. We have the playful answer. Oh, I already had an opportunity to see some of your beauties. We have the distanced answer. Sure. We have the intimidating answer. I've wasted enough time. Or we have the vulnerable answer. Can we talk about the peninsula instead? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Friendly, playful, distanced, intimidating, or vulnerable. You guys tell me. What will it be? Chat, help me. Count says 1 or 2. Dragoon says friendly. Trav says friendly. Winter Fairy says distanced. Dragon Spark says friendly. It looks like the friendlies have won. We shall be friendly. He was friendly with us. We shall be friendly in return. Thanks, Ela. That sounds lovely. As he grins, you notice his unusually white teeth. He moves with heavy but enthusiastic steps. It won't really take that long, but we do have quite a view. The hunter gives you an embarrassed look. Don't indulge him too much, friend, he says without lowering his voice. He'd be proud of a falling wheelbarrow. Let's take a stroll then, says Ela as he leads you forward. Your mount can drink at the creek here. Come on, Soda Pop. I love how, the map just opens up as we go. It's so lovely. This place seems suspect. It's too happy, too casual. Not far from here, we have people laboring hard every day or dying from plague. And these live easy, happy lives. Something seems wrong. You know, Trav, you have a point. At the same time, it could just be what it is. Maybe they're just really happy, ignorant people. I don't know. It's probably a cult thing, but, we'll find out, I guess. You tether your mount to a tree next to drying laundry. Eli points to the land behind the bridge proudly. Our newest addition to the village. The hunters grow old, so we're taking steps away from meat and fruits. You spot only 2 people working in the field, or rather a large garden covered with cabbages, carrots, onions, and garlic, indistinguishable from the wild plants growing in the woods. On a path between the 2 halves of the field, an elderly woman is sitting on a stool, looking in your direction as if you're interrupting her contemplation. Old Hava there will turn this place into a proper farm one day. She has little strength, but keeps precious memories from her trade. Do we say you lack proper seeds, or do we speak quietly and say she seems austere? One or 2, chat, you know what to do. Tell me, which one shall we use? That rhyme did not work as well. The vote started off with a vote for 2 and a vote for 1. So seeds or austere. What does the chat think? So long as 4 people vote, we will go with the consensus. Hey Bromley, nice of you to join us. Welcome in and good morning. Well, it looks like the ones have it. You lack proper seeds. The good ones are expensive, Ela responds. right away, as if it's part of a prepared speech, and we weren't sure about our soil. It's all just a test. He invites you with a gesture to follow him deeper into the village. And there are no seeds in Gale Rocks, while the folks in Howlers won't spare their own. They'd rather force us to buy food from them. There are farmers at White Marshes, adds Ephron, but it's a dark place. Who knows what we could reap after a year. That's rough. I mean, they have wild vegetables, essentially, which is not terrible. Like, it's certainly not grains and those types of things, but they can live quite comfortably off of wild vegetables and roots for quite a while. So the fact that they're testing their soil with stuff that they know already grows in the area is not a terrible idea. They're on the right track, truly. But yeah, it's rough. The bonfire spot is surrounded by logs that were cut into tables and stools. Ela approaches the nearest chair, rubbing its back with his cut hands. Then we share a meal. When we share a meal, we do so here, sometimes beneath the stars. You'd have to see it. The flames dance on the walls to the monsters' roars and crickets. Ephron's voice also grows in enthusiasm. Dining at the edge of the forest is something you wouldn't forget, unless you can drink. Don't swallow anything stronger than spoiled ibex milk. The shadows, friend. Terrifying. You glance over the wooden buildings. While the walls seem fine, the roofs are primitive, mostly made of planks that are already soggy and bent. There are a few people working on cleaning bark from a log, but the square is mostly quiet, with a few kids observing you from above their toys. Burning such fires must take a lot of wood. A bit of a fire hazard, isn't it? Or I imagine what such dinners would look like. One big family. 1, 2, or 3. You guys tell me which shall it be. Vote as you please. Not my best rhyme. We're working on it. I don't know why I do the rhyming thing. It just happens. Indeed, Count. They just seem to be like a very happy people. They could, in fact, be a brainwashed cult. But, cults happen. We have... 2 votes for 1, 2 votes for 3. Who wants to be my tiebreaker? Because I don't want it to be me. The 3s have it. 3s have it. Thank you, Spark. I imagine what such dinners would look like. One big family. Ela flashes you a disarming white smile. Yeah, a huge one. We don't have any rooms to spare. He looks at the children as they return to their crude wooden toys. They don't realize yet how small our home is. They've hardly seen anyone from the world outside, and the trade occurs at Foggy Lake. And good for them, the hunter chips in. They don't miss much. Other than spouses, we have everything we need. And so far, we have plenty of fresh meat. Some of us even too much. He smirks at the carpenter, who in response turns and walks away. I follow him. You stand between 2 of the houses, in front of the gate of an animal pen. The walls are made of sharpened trunks and are as tall as 2 humans. The captured beasts are tethered by ropes, but have enough freedom to wander and graze. 2 brown boars and a black mouflon. And here are our captives, Ephron declares proudly. I know it's still a bit empty, but we'll crowd it just before winter. Are the ropes really enough to keep them here? Can they chew through them? Or are you going to care for them in winter? Are you going to care for them in winter? I mean, this really looks like a small settlement that could grow into something should they have enough trade to do so. The people here are simple, happy, and trying, as far as we've seen. That doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't more sinister things going on just beneath the surface, but, I mean, look at them. They're happy. Do we care? I don't know. They've been the nicest people so far. Quite literally. I have 2 votes for 2. Okay, Dragoon. Hope to see you back soon. Yeah, they would probably like lots of spouses, yes. Looks like the twos have it. So, are you going to care for them in winter? Is our response. The hunter swallows loudly, already thinking about his next meal. Nah, they're just here for the meat and skin. Once the snow falls, we'll butcher them. The carpenter gives him a sullen glance, then squeezes the lower edge of his jacket. I'd love to keep them with us. I don't even like meat. We could start a mouflon herd or any other, but it's too dangerous with such weak defenses. He leans on the gate. Our houses are too small for them, and having loud beasts outside during cold months would lure predators. We tried. He falls silent for a bit, and once he picks up the conversation, his voice returns to its previous proud tone. You'll understand better if you take a look at our old forest friend. He points at the area behind the palisade. We look north. The vast clearing is returning to life, with shrubs spread between the paths and tree stumps. You move to the bridge, then a gateway, and have a chance to look around. We can see the edge of our world from the watchtower, Eli narrates sublimely. In the long distance, the plateau ends, surrounded by cliffs. You either climb up the mountains or fall to your death. Both men tell you about the difficult past of the village. A desperate camp, then a cabin, then two, shifting its wooden walls as more and more trees were cut. Without tree crowns, we can walk with no shadows, beast dens, gargoyles' eyes, concludes the carpenter. Is it really better than a forest garden? It would produce much more food. Now I only see berries. Or, I'm surprised the wrath of the Hers hasn't smitten you yet. These pointed sticks won't stop a unicorn. 1 or 2? Chat, 1 or 2? Bromley starts off the vote with 1. Count with 2. I have 2 votes for 1. Unicorns sound hardcore. Unicorns are hardcore. Like, if you ever looked into unicorn lore, whoo boy, they are not nice creatures. I have 3 votes for 1 and 2 votes for 2. Looks like the ones have it. So intense. So, is it really better than a forest garden? You hit the heart of our worries, friend, Ela admits, and is interrupted by the hunter quickly. We did what we had to do to push away the beasts. They don't feel safe here, and don't seek food on the shrubs as they would on trees. Ela tells you there's one more thing to see, and as you walk away, he returns to the matter at hand. The animals keep their distance now, at least in the meadows, so hunting for them gets difficult, and meat with hardly any mushrooms and herbs gets bland. A forest garden would solve the problem, sure, but we don't know enough to even start one, hence a field of berries. He taps his stomach. First, we need to learn how to feed our children. We lack strength and skill. Ephron looks at you. But we have time. That's cool, Count. You always do have interesting ideas. No worries, Spark. Come back soon. We hope to see you before the end of stream. So, how do we respond? Do we nod with time comes opportunity, or do we frown? We never have as much time as we want. 1 or 2? Upbeat or downbeat? That is my keywords. 1 or 2, upbeat or downbeat. I have a vote for 2 and a vote for 1. The ones are in the lead. What does the rest of chat think? The ones are currently the consensus. Yeah, we do want to make friends, even if I personally think that they have less of a survival instinct than a Disney lemming. Yeah, optimists. Looks like the ones have it. I nod, but time comes opportunity. You reach the edge of the village. A cliff as tall as the wall. Beneath you, two creeks meet each other and form a gentle river. These are the trees we use to learn more about woodwork, Eli says, smiling as he leans back against the wall of a house. We plant new ones, but we'll soon have to bring wood from further away. Give the saplings a few years, or however long they grow. A decade? And this is where I leave the two of you with your boring tree talks. Ephron points at you. See me later if you need. I'll be around. I rarely hunt alone. The carpenter watches his departing companion with genial eyes. Well, there's work to be done. A new chair awaits me. He leads you to a humble working station placed at the edge of the square. The tools, you noticed, are very simple, if not primitive. We don't have to talk about my trade, Salron. What brings you to us? And we have all of the questions. I'll see you later. We'll definitely end this conversation, but we could start from top to bottom. We could go from bottom to top. We could do every other, every two, every three. You guys tell me, in what order will we do these questions? We will learn a lot. There will be lots of me reading. But you guys decide in what order I will be doing them. I will not give you a number count. It's top to bottom, bottom to top, every other, every two, or every three. You guys pick how I will do questions. The vote starts out with top to bottom, which is currently in the lead. Remember, some of these questions may have question trees, so top to bottom is still in the lead unless someone has a compelling argument for any other way of going about things. All right, we're just going to start from the top and go to the bottom until we run out of things to say. Old Pagos is suffering from a plague. The village is isolating itself from outsiders. He freezes, puts away his tools, then looks at you with wide eyes. Wait for a bit, will you? Without waiting for your response, he springs up and knocks down a few planks as he lurches away, asking his neighbors to call the entire tribe. People surrounding you asking what's going on, and once the news spreads, you answer dozens of questions. The most of what you have to say could be summed up with, I'm not sure. Aside from the worried faces, there are also more pragmatic ones. Hunters mention that they won't be able to deliver their autumn pelts, while one of the farmers wonders about her cousin. She was always so pious, she says with an accent you remember from Old Pagos. May the right reward her prayers, or else. After some time, the crowd pays you little attention, and Ela leads you back to his workshop. They and I will discuss this later, he says with an absent voice, then sits down and glances at his neighbors. I've heard about the bandits. Have they caused you any troubles? No worries, Dragoon. He makes an awkward cut with a chisel and lets out a quiet shit, and starts to rub the plank with his thumb. Bandits, you say? Soldiers from the city have already taken care of them. You pressure him for a bit, and after he glances at you, he nods slowly. Bandit is a strong word. Those are not some strangers, but folks of the north, our neighbors. One of them is from our very own tribe, and they don't target us, just strangers. You ask him again if he's sure no one from his tribe has been targeted so far, and after a cold eye, he reaches for a carving knife. Oh yeah, they've been trading and stealing for creeks, clearly. Is Astron around? He halts his work and looks at you with an exaggerated frown. That's a weird question. You're the first Roadwarden I've seen in, well, this season, I think. Did you check in the western villages? You'll get to Howler's Dell simply staying on the road. His right hand, still holding a tool, is now squeezing his stomach gently. People say that Astron has spent a lot of time in your village. You're hiding something. He adjusts his shoulder cape and clears his throat with a grunt. People, aye. Well, there's some truth to that, but Astron isn't here, and we don't know where he is. He took our coins, but for fair labor. He moved wares to other settlements, patrolled the roads, escorted an old woman to a druid and back. Did you know you can get good prices for iron at Howler's Dell, or even better at White Marshes? Seeing your look, he turns away and rests his elbow on his workbench. His plans are his own problem, and I've no reason to believe he wanted to be found, nor can I help you. Hey, Lucky Tragedy, welcome in, welcome in. Glad to see you. Yeah, we've made it to Creeks, so we're asking all the things. We do have scrap iron. We could go back to Howler's Dell with it, of course, but they just got a bunch of scrap iron from the scavenger. Or we could go to White Marshes, which we have yet to go because White Marshes was scary. We decided to skip it and go later. This village isn't much older than you are. What's the story? He proudly raises a carving knife and gestures for you to look around. It may be a young village, but there's a lot to say. While his story is bloated with names, relationships, a step-by-step description of the growth of the settlement, and bothersome creatures, you get the gist of it. The settlers arrived here 25 years ago, soon after one of the 10 cities had fallen to the southern invasion. Most of them came from the capital, while some joined them along the way. They soon came to realize that none of the villages had enough space or the will to host a few dozen refugees. The folks of Gale Rocks used to have a much kinder attitude towards strangers than they do now, and they offered the newcomers to stay at the beach behind their village. Yet there was nothing for them to eat other than what they caught in the salt waters. They soon started their search for a land remote enough to not compete with the locals, and with the help of kind folks from Gale Rocks, White Marshes, Old Pagos, and others, as Ela vaguely states, they received enough wood and tools to turn a scrap of this plateau into a clearing, then a camp, a hamlet, and finally, a village. No worries, Lucky Tragedy. It's absolutely fair for you to just hang out and listen. Voting in chat is always optional. I love to hear from my chat always, but I'm happy to have my lurkers as well. So don't you even worry about it. You just enjoy the time. So, do we try to pay attention or do we just say fascinating stuff? 1 or 2, chat. What will we do? You tell me, and that's what we'll do. Dragoon says 1. Count also says 1 to pay attention. We like information. The ones are currently in the lead, and with Winter Fairy's vote, they have it. The ones have it. We try to pay attention. Oh, goodness. The tale is assisted by walking around the village, introducing you to the original settlers or their offspring, and showing you some of the treasures displayed in the House of Gatherings. A unicorn's horn found at the heart of the woods, a blue rock that's shaped and hollow like an egg, and is darker inside, an arrow that hit a fright ape in the eye and knocked it down. Behind each of them, there are names, stories, and memories. At the very end, Ela leads you back to his workbench, holding a hand on his conspicuous stomach. To give his throat some rest, he turns the topic around. And what are the folks in Hovlavin like, friend? Foggy says there are thousands of souls in the capital, and one can go their entire life still finding new faces in the crowd. All right, we get to pick out some lore for Hovlavin, which, as some of those who have been regulars in my stream will recall, is where we're from, but not where we grew up. So we have option 1. It may be so, but my city feels lonely. There are many people around, but all of them are too busy with their duties to share their lives with others. Option 2. People spend time with their families and close friends, especially ones they work with. They are close to each other, but no soul knows what happens behind doors. In the evenings, the streets feel empty. Option 3. It's hard to get to know new people when everyone's so busy, but kids spend a lot of time together and build long-term friendships. Option 4. One can easily find groups to hang out with. People shop together, work, take baths, pray, and when one has nothing to do in the evening, they just go outside and seek company. It's not easy to build a strong friendship, though. Or option 5? Hard to say. The merchants are getting richer, the priests have their games, craft guides decide who goes in and out, and workers have to compete. There are no monsters on the streets, at least not every day, but there is distrust in many souls. To be quite frank, we grew up in the country, in a village that was obviously kept safe in Hovlavin's control, but yeah, we went to the city looking for work, and they sent us here. So it's not really our city, but 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Travis started the vote with Life is Rough, and I've got 3 votes for Life is Rough. If anyone else wants to weigh in, we will have a consensus. Yep, okay. Hard to say is the way we're going today. Whew. He looks at you with a sigh. I know folks go there to be safe, but what you described, friend, sounds like a place darker than the heart of the woods. It's not if you're at the top, or it's exactly that. 1 or 2. Slightly optimistic or absolutely truthful. How we feeling, chat? Looks like the ones have started off the vote and are currently in the lead. And that's basically the consensus too. So it's not if you're at the top. Yep, socioeconomic dystopia. Exactly, Bromley. He adjusts his shoulder cloak and reaches for the next plank without saying anything. I'd like to learn more about the peninsula. Our tribe won't be much help there, he admits, while judging the harsh surface of a small plank. It was our parents who did all the traveling, and they did so while we were kids, or not yet born. Most of them are already gone, and most of us travel no further than to Foggy's, and only when we have to. I've heard you have some issues with the Eastern Path. At first he gives you a bright smile, but then nods with a sigh. Aye. So our issues are so clear that folks gossip on them. I'm glad you came to our help, friend, but it doesn't feel right to admit we need help from an outsider. He stands up slowly, walks away, and leaps over one of the log-made tables and looks for something in the pile of wood. In this part of the land, there's always going to be something to do for a Roadwarden. He straightens up with a piece of charred wood in his hand and gets back to you. As he draws black lines on the workbench, he mentions a few names. Creeks, Foggies, Gale Rocks there. Here's the lake. The map is simplistic and doesn't align with your own understanding of local distances, but you follow his description without issues. The path from here to the south is getting too wild for us. He repines, making another few strokes. The merchants travel through the other route, through Howler's Dell, passing by Old Pagos and White Marshes. Once they reach Foggy, they already have full stomachs and many deals closed. And when they travel back, they visit the same places again. Folks already know that trading here takes a long time. So you want me to give them an option to get to you first and move west without backtracking, and do so all by myself? How exactly? Well, I'm sure you can find some help. He pats his stomach without noticing that he leaves a few black dots on his leather jacket. There's a few things you could do. Follow the eastern road and see if it's clear. Are there any safe shelters left? Any blockades to get rid of? Is there an overgrown path to burn? Maybe see if the road from here to the western crossroad is safe, or if the carts could get through the heart of the woods, if you're brave enough. I hope you're a soul with sage judgment. Seeing your puzzled look, he rests his palms on the table with a shy smile. I know I'm vague, but I bet you already know more about these roads than I do, friend. His eyes return to the map, and after a moment of hesitation, he rubs an uneven line with his thumb. This looks like a choice. You forgot to mention my pay. How can you know if I'll be honest with you? Where would you like me to start? Or wouldn't it be better for you to put work into the western road? Could split the labor with other settlements. I'm not sure if we'll get to all of these questions. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Bromley says 3, Dragoon agrees. Count says 4, Winterfairy says 1. And then 3. Well, it looks like the threes are currently in the lead, and that is the consensus. Enough people have voted that I will just go with 3. Where would you like me to start? Go to the shelters set just to the side of the roads. There's a ruined campsite west of Foggy's. He makes a small circle on his map. Or you could go south to a cabin our elders built. He makes a larger square. It's halfway from here to the river. Take a look around and see what's their condition. If there are any beasts around. You can handle a few small creatures, can't you? So, 2 shelters and then you just want me to take care of anything I find? He laughs, but not with his eyes. Forgive me, friend, but you don't sound like someone with much experience behind them. You're nothing like Asteron. He took pride in his self-reliance. He wants us to kill the dusk foxes, but we love the dusk foxes. Yeah, he's... we're actually up here. He wants us to go down this road here. I don't believe the dusk foxes is what he's looking for. There might be something else. We haven't exactly been around the east here, so we don't know what the pathing is like. And then there's something between here, the gate, and like we've not been in the middle of this map, essentially. There's a lot still left to find. So, 1, 2, or 3. Pay, honesty, or settlements. What shall we ask next? 1, 2, or 3. Pay, honesty, or settlements. There is no 4 on this list. Count. 1, 2, or 3. Pay, honesty, or settlements. Dragoon has started the vote with 3. Count has agreed. What does the rest of chat think? Trav wants 1. The 3s are currently in the lead. Oh, I just continued the conversation on that automatically. All right. Wouldn't it be better for you to put work in with the Western Road? You could split the labor between the other settlements. They can't be trusted, especially some of them. He crosses the western side of his map with a long, thin line. Even a paved route would force merchants to add a day of pointless travel to their plans, and that's a big loss in their trade. Having our path clear gives everyone more options and more convenience. 1 or 2. Pay or honesty? Dragoon says 1. Count agrees. The 1s are in the lead. Oh, never mind. Dragoon has flipped. We have a vote for 1 and a vote for 2. The 2s are currently in the lead. Trav, that is not helping, but I'm assuming that's 1, which makes it a tie. Who wants to be my tiebreaker? 1 or 2? Whoever who has not voted yet. Yeah, we need to buy the lantern, but we have no money. Who wants to be my tiebreaker in chat? I will make the decision. You may not like it, though. Looks like I'm picking. How can you know if I'll be honest with you? He looks at you in silence, then clenches his stomach. Can't, most likely? But the more news you bring us, the farther away from the village our foragers and hunters will be willing to roam. Foggy's boys as well, I expect. Sooner or later, the truth will surface, and I'll advise my tribe to take a lesson from whatever we're about to find. I forgot to mention my pay. That depends on what you're about to do, The tribe has but a few dragons. To confirm his words, he enters the nearby house from which he picks up an old wooden case, crude in shape and with an unsightly engraving of a 3-headed hydra on its lid. Inside it you see maybe 24 dragon bones. Let's say you get a dragon for any news about cleared or blocked areas, and more if it takes real effort from you. So you want me to act first and pick up my reward after? You're playing with my patience, or we have a deal. So do we want to negotiate, or is this a decent deal? Do the work, get paid. I have a vote for we have a deal. Trav has agreed. Literally no one has paid in advance, so honestly arguing about it is not going to get us anywhere, but we have the option to negotiate. The twos are currently in the lead. And the twos have it. We have a deal. He flashes you a wide smile and pats his stomach. You won't regret this. He then throws away the charred wood, returns to his stool, and looks for his tools. The shelter in the west wasn't safe. Better to stay away from it until the dusk foxes move out. Dusk foxes? After he meets your silence, he carries on. I don't know what that is. You describe their looks and the threat they present as Ela observes the clouds, sometimes asking you to explain more. He finally squeezes his cloak and reaches for a coin that's been resting on the workbench. Well, sounds not as dangerous as a tribe of goblins, but it may be better for us to hunt them down in spring. We may need your help then. For now, a single dragon bone will be fair pay for the news. Thanks, or sure. Look, they may not hunt them at all if we don't go help them, but they are hunters. They're at least allowing the dusk foxes to raise their pups. And to be fair, by the time spring happens, they may move out, so we are giving the dusk foxes some time. We didn't kill them. Sure. Well, that's a start. Keep it up. I'll let you know if there's anything else. I imagine being a carpenter in this part of the realm isn't easy. You have a healthy imagination. He rests his elbow on the workbench and smiles. I have patience, and I'm getting better with tools. And these are some shoddy tools, he says, singingly. And it's hard to disagree with him. They have been used for many years, with only the wooden parts being somewhat in shape since they seem to be recently replaced. The steel chisels and saws are jagged and dull. The hammers and axes are made of stone. Some of them were brought here by the settlers, and we can't buy any more right now. There's work to be done, but I do have a plan. You ask him to explain, and he's all too eager to do so. He enters the nearby house and shows you his more successful works, each of which has some shortcomings, noticeable even to a layperson. A bowl engraved with fish was poorly planned, with animals too large to fit into the entire space, and so a part of it is blank. A simple relief of two naked people in their embrace looks almost believable, but the legs are in one case too long and in the other too short. One chair has a broken leg, and the remaining three show that they are a bit too ambitiously shaped and got dangerously thin. The chest seems fine, but equipment sticks out of it, and the man acknowledges that he wrongly estimated the required size. So you want to be an artist? Better. I want to turn pots, cups, weapons, cupboards, everyday stuff into things of beauty. Seeing your look, he pats his stomach. I know I'm far from mastering it, but trust me, these are so much better than the ones I did this winter, and I started only 3 years ago. His pride makes him look even larger, especially in the shoulders. There aren't many carpenters in the peninsula. Folks do things for their own use, but I'll be a specialist. It's the city thing. Foggy told me so. Not just a jointer, but someone who does only a few things, but better than others. The tribe supports me with food and time, and I'll pay them back with dragon bones. And prettier houses. Then he leads you outside. You start to share some of his excitement, but most of it dwindles away after you sit down at his workbench again, on wobbly stools, surrounded by broken planks and crude tools. I need a wooden lantern, one useful for an adventurer. Dreaming of caves and treasures? He glances at the nearest pile of planks. I should have some glue and leather to spare, but making a lantern would take me half a day, and I've got a lot of sawing ahead. He points at the broken chair behind him with his thumb. If you really need it, friend, you can give it a try. I'll lead you through the difficult steps, but it will take us almost half a day. I'll let you know when I'm ready. See you later. That's the end of that. We can go to the carpenter, the hunter, the farmer, approach the shallow creek, or maybe there's some locals looking for a match in other villages. Yeah, he is pretty adorable. Well, it's one of those things, Trav, that we can get a cheap lantern, or we can go buy a better one. Either way. The other lantern that we could buy was 4 dragon bones. At least last time we checked. This one might be free. Or basically for labor, for time. In any case, yeah, let's go see what the locals need as far as spouses. After a few minutes, you find yourself sitting at a table with Soshi, a dark-haired 20-year-old who some call a woodcutter, others a singer. In both of these roles, her massive stature must be of help. When she walks, she either carries a large axe on her shoulders or swings it around, towering over her tribesfolk like a chieftain from Tales of War. She admits she enjoys a friendly shag from time to time, but can't see a future for her in creeks. Enough of these friends lose their lives in the wilderness. I start seeing cats and gargoyles in every shadow. I'd rather have a few calm, safe years at the side of a pretty little woman whom I see in my bed in the evenings. Though, you know, friend, not just her. She lets out sonorous laughter. You mention that you don't know if she'll be able to keep her trade after moving away, and she strokes her axe with affection. I'd miss the woods, but who knows? My tribe can't be the only one that cuts trees around here, You try to ask her about her worldview, but she gets bored by the topic. We here, she looks around, have no temples and priests, and I don't aim to become one. We could tell her about Marina from Gale Rocks, or we could say farewell. Oh, thanks, Dragoon. Just gotta keep the water refilled. Yeah, I don't think Marina's a good match either. Let's check the journal. Matchmaking, make me a match. Find me a find. Catch me a catch. So we've already told Paulus about Timo. We have yet to get back to Howlersdale to tell Timo about Paulus. Marina seeks someone willing to move in with her and her son, but is only interested in Wright's followers. Soshi looks for a safe, slow life with a woman who lives in another village and is interested in keeping their relationship open. Timo's only looking for a man. Timo and Paulus are practically made for each other. So. And of course, old Pagos, being in the middle of a plague, is seeking no one. I'm not sure Marina and Soshi and Shoshi is a good match. They're not a terrible match. They're not a good one. Gale Rocks is a slower, safer sort of life, certainly. I don't know if Shoshi would be very happy with the stupidly, overly serious people of Gale Rocks. We may want to wait on that one for a bit. Let's, Yeah, she seems pretty devout and serious. I think I'm just gonna say farewell and keep looking. I don't want to make them unhappy. Let's go approach the shallow creek and find out what that's about, just because I want to see. With the calming waters of the waterfall around you, you observe the stream, as clean as a spring. The oak ash soap you own is not enough to help you get cleaner. So, we're good on the cleaning aspect. We took a bath. We're good. Okay, so the shallow creek is just basically the bathing point of this place. We go back to Ephron. It is 15 minutes before dusk, so we could seek shelter, or we go talk to the farmer. So Ephron or Old Hava? You guys tell me. Ephron or Old Hava? Hunter or farmer? One or two? Those are your only options, 1 or 2. We don't need to talk to the carpenter again. There's... When it comes to the cleaning items, the 2 items that we have found that we have not yet acquired is the perfume and the tooth cleaning kit. We know where both of them are. I have 3 votes for the farmer, because we have yet to speak with her. Spark is basically voting for 2, the farmer as well. So I think we're just going to go talk to Old Hava and hope that she's not so austere as to say nothing to us. You follow the path between the fields, witnessing a one-sided conversation between Old Hava and a barely adult man. She orders him around, pointing at various plants, criticizing the sight of weeds, and addressing the fancy clothes he's wearing. He observes his red-eyed boots and lets out a relieved sigh after your arrival. I better change, he mumbles, heading to the main square. We will just step out of his way. The woman spares you a wry glance, then turns away, focused on the struggling vegetables. She's the only person in the village who wears clothes made of plant fabric, but they're weathered and covered with decade-old patches. Her hands, clasped behind her back, are constantly twitching. So how do we greet her? Do we do the friendly response? How are you doing? The playful one. Youth, huh? Back in my day. The distanced response. What do you have for sale? Which we have a single dragon bone to spend on. The intimidating response. Don't test my patience. Or the vulnerable response. Wait patiently. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Friendly, playful, distanced, intimidating, or vulnerable. The vote has started off with friendly. I have a vote for friendly and a vote for vulnerable. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I also have a vote for distanced. I have a vote for 1, for 3, and for 5. Dragoon, you have to pick 1. If there was more of a consensus right now, I would let you get away with that, but there's not more of a consensus. Give me 1. Come on, you guys. That's what I have you here for. Technically, I already have a vote for both 1 and 5, so she needs to pick 1 or 5, not both. Or somebody else can vote, of course. I know that we've got a few lurkers in chat. If you guys would like to vote, feel free. It is optional. I adore my lurkers just as much as my participators, but all right, the friendlies have it. We will be friendly. How are you doing? After a moment, she turns to you slowly, chewing her bottom lip. I'm doing my break. Say what you want and fast. Well, we could find out what she has for sale, or we could ask that, or we could mention that we're looking for a place to sleep. Thanks, Winterfairy and Dragoon, for flipping a coin. I appreciate you and your coin flipping. 1 or 2, business or questions. I have a vote for 2 and a vote for 1. The 1s are currently in the lead. What does the rest of chat think? As long as 4 people weigh in and we get a consensus, we will be doing that. The 1s are currently the consensus. So, what do you have for sale? We sold what we had. We're lacking hunters, and these, she looks at the wrinkled vegetables, will go into a stew if they're even worth picking. Without noticing it, she grabs her left forearm with her right hand, but it doesn't stop the twitching. We always have a fish trap to spare. We make them just in case. A large basket, Put it in a creek, wait a day or two until something swims inside. I'll sell you one for 2 dragon bones. And if you'd rather eat something right away, she carries on after a short pause, our cooks would spare you a roast grouse or a chicken. It'll be cold but fresh. We always have one. You never know when there are maggots in your supplies, and kids shouldn't skip a meal. You ask her to tell you more, but her patience grows thin. It's the best light roast in the north. We add plenty of spices to it so it spoils slowly. That's it. Fine, show me how this trap works. So, we can buy a roast chicken, or we can not buy, because we only have a single dragon coin, a fish trap, which we already have one set up in the ruins far to the south. Nowhere near where we are. That we should check at some point. I'm going to pass on both of these. We've got plenty of supplies, to be honest, but it's good. She cracks her knuckles. I met some annoying howlers. Do you have any earplugs? I'm looking for a place to sleep, or I don't expect many merchants to reach this place. Why don't you move your traps to Foggy's? Whew. She doesn't have a lot of patience. So what are we gonna do? 1, 2, or 3. We're not going to do about supplies. We just did that. This will end the conversation. So 1, 2, or 3. Howlers, sleep, or Foggies? Yes, the earplugs. The earplugs. I know, Spark. Good point out there, Trav. You do make a point. There could be a symbiote or something, but I actually think it's just old age. She probably has some form of nerve damage or arthritis that causes her arm to spasm. But I have multiple votes for sleep, so that seems to be the consensus. I'm looking for a place to sleep. We need another hut, and we have no space for it. She gazes at you with dry, tired eyes. If you need a scrap of floor, go to the tavern. Okay. No rooms for rent. We could go sleep on the tavern floor. Earplugs or Foggies? Earplugs or Foggies? Sorry, Trav. I was skipping the I need for supplies, so it was not earplugs. 1, 2, or 3 was earplugs, sleep, or Foggies. And now we only have earplugs and Foggies as 1 or 2. So please pay attention to the options I give you, chat. 1 or 2, earplugs or Foggies. I'll take numbers or keywords. You guys tell me. So long as 4 people vote, we'll do whatever the consensus says. I have a vote for earplugs and I have a vote for Foggies. Looks like the earplugs have it this time. Thank you all for voting. Earplugs. Her shoulders flinch. But will that work? They can break the skull of a deaf shell. After you shrug, she looks at one of the farmers who's wearing mouflon fur. Give me something good to eat, and I'll give you a few tufts of thick wool. Put them in your ears, then wear them under a tight hood. I have a food ration to spare. We always need more of them. She orders the farmer to bring her knife. After a few minutes, you hold a new pair of earplugs. Yeah, I literally had 8 of these things, so I wasn't going to worry about one. And we have only a single coin at this point, so yeah, we found a way to deal with the howlers the next time we go back through. I don't expect many merchants to reach this place. Why don't you move your traps to Foggy's? What's it to you? She doesn't wait for your response. Does your yard look like it has space for nets? All right. Thanks. Bye. All right. I'm going to go talk to Ephron the Hunter because he's the only person, and he said, hey, hit me back up again soon. So, she's an old crotchety woman, aches all over, can't really do anything. I don't blame her for being grumpy. She's absolutely somebody's grandma. Grumpy grandma. We will be nice to her. Yes, we will. We return to Ephron the hunter. He's lost in his thoughts. Are you the only hunter around? But of course not. He takes a suspiciously long pause. 7 of us. The tribe is small. We have enough food without daily trips. If we catch too much meat, it spoils, so it's better to let the animals feel safe. You try to change the topic, but the man suddenly looks around and lowers his wolf's head. Well, there's just one issue. 3 of my friends left the village just a few days ago, and they haven't returned yet. But they should. Ela's is growing worried. Why do you think these other hunters aren't back yet? Yep, that's why the gate was closed. He walks around from time to time, looking at you with an open mouth, not sure how to start. He takes off his heavy cloak and looks you in the eye. They left for a few days to seek and kill some big game, each of them a different one, then bring all of them for me to judge. His confident voice falters when he mentions his own part. The winner would have caught me the prey of the greatest size, rarity, utility, and of the greatest threat. He turns away and lowers the wolf's mouth. Tell me more about those 3. They are hunters and fighters, but they're also close friends. If one of them was in trouble, the others would have done all they could to help. They've been a team for years, and we're planning to start a family this winter, you know? Their last big adventure before Dahlia's belly locks her at home. He gives you quite a tale of their deeds and features. Dahlia is the bravest of them, with strong legs. She has simple ways and looks for beasts in the open, by the roads. Her hair is light, always tied in a single braid. Admon is a man who seeks paths and challenges. He believes that seeking knowledge of the peninsula will bring the tribe ways to survive hardships. He is smaller than the others, and knows more about dressing the wild game than any of us. His arms are small, so he often places traps. His hair is a bit darker than Dahlia's, but short, just like his beard. Pascal is not a man, though they were born with a prick, and wears browns and greens to blend in with trees. They hunt like a gargoyle, hiding among leaves, jumping at a creature when it gets close. Because of that, they have often roamed in the woods, even those that are far away from the village. And where should I start? He looks at you as if you're slow. I would have found them myself if I knew. I let the horse take you to other settlements. Ask there? Let's say I find them. What should I tell them? Have you no shred of optimism? Maybe they're fine. Just tell them to come home. We've got enough wood and food to start the next feast. And I have a hint that an honorable guest may be welcome there. He smiles at you, and for a moment you think you see the wolf's head wink. Does your tribe often send lone hunters? Why not work in groups? This isn't a hunt, but a competition. The winner names their first child. I've heard their arguments. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to pick a name when you have 3 parents, he chuckles to himself. Once the memory fades, he gets serious again. But I can't disagree with you, friend. It's the first time in many years since my tribesfolk have gone on such a reckless trip, and I fear it may remind us why the peninsula isn't a place for adventurers. Yep, someone tried to go more than the skill to win. Yep, it's a very sweet story. I'm actually very impressed that it's been included. I don't know when this game came out. I can check here in a second. It was released in 2022, so it's a fairly new game. Came out last September. So, yeah. Nice. He's an idiot. Of course it's a hunt. It being a competitive one makes it even more dangerous than usual. It is a hunt, yeah. Our hunter friend here is an idiot, but this sounds serious, but if you want me to look for them, I still deserve a reward. Isn't helping 3 young, strong souls enough? Seeing your look, he raises his voice, draws his obsidian-edged club, and touches his chest with it. Then I will loyally assist you, friend. For your brave deeds, you may count on me on a day of great challenge. As he lowers his weapon, he winks at you, and others will be grateful as well. You know that. So, we can negotiate for some dragon bones, or just agree and say, I'll tell you if I find anything. Travis started off the vote with 2. What does the rest of chat want to do? Negotiate or agree? 1 or 2? A resounding 2 from everyone, because we are a helpful lot. It's in our character sheet. I will tell you if I find anything. Thanks, friend. And if all you have is a tale of their dead shells, bring me something to prove it, aye? A trinket, a weapon, a thing we can throw into a pyre. Does this rawhide belong to your tribe? He gives it only a glance, then throws it away. I think so? After you describe where you found it, he reaches towards the wolf's head, but doesn't touch it. Me and the other hunters go to this place in spring, when there's fewer beasts around, sit on blankets. He points at the hide. Eat before the hunt. Maybe you'll find a trail there? Alright, we've gotten earplugs to deal with the howlers in that area, and we might have a trail there, so... Good, I'll tell you if I find anything. He looks at the sky. Are we done here? Do the hunters from Pelt of the North hinder your job? Nah, they only get closer when they chase after wounded prey, so our would stay mostly the same. You could have another village twice our size. He glances towards the gate. Halfway from here to Pelt, and there would still be more than enough game for every belly, as long as they would forage and set up farms. You ask him if he has ever considered joining professional hunters, but he takes off the wolf's head and gives it to you so you can take a better look. It's weirdly warm from the sun. That's the only wolf any of us felled in the last 5 years, you see? Not that we're cowards. He suddenly raises his voice. Our trade just isn't like the big game hunters. I place fish traps, put glue to catch birds, shoot rocks at rats and rabbits. When in a group, we may seek roe deer or aurochs. He takes the hat back and looks at it with nostalgia. Those in the inn seek trophies, no, not meat. So they hunt for big beasts, ones that, fight back. Our ways are different, but I like that bunch. At least they smile, unlike others in the peninsula. Hunters will always find a common tongue. Once you see enough blood and guts, you have to laugh or go crazy. Yep, that is the meta. And indeed, Dragoon, a companion, will be useful, as well as the joy of reunion. So, yeah, we could have some spicy times here in Creeks if we find all 3, assuming they're alive, of course. Have you ever had an opportunity to work with Erados from Howler's Dell and Cassia from Gale Rocks? Do they know their trade? I, with both of them, but I'd rather hunt for frogs than waste my time teaching them both how not to trip over their own feet. He rubs the forehead of his wolf, not aware that you're waiting for him to tell you more. What, surprised? He finally adds. Erastos barely knows how to catch a rabbit or a sparrow. He's as much of a trapper as a child with a stick or a soldier. And Cassia is even worse. Big mouth, sure, but whenever we seek blades at Gale Rocks to help us catch big prey, she suddenly gets a headache. What do you know about the road running through the heart of the forest? I know to avoid it. Blood there. Seeing that you're waiting for a longer tale, he adjusts his heavy cloak, spending a good minute on making sure that you understand it's a dangerous place. You'll do better riding around it. The northern road is the safest, he concludes. After you insist that any sort of guidance may be of use, he scratches the wolf's head. I've heard from a friend that gnolls were moving there. Those very small beast folks, you know? He moves an open hand close to his hips, portraying the height. They'll threaten you until you give them some meat, and that's all they eat. No fruit, no, bones. But it's the fright apes that scare me the most, and there's an entire family of them. Trust me, if you ever hear the terrible scream of a human somewhere in the tree crowns, run as fast as you can. Don't seek it, and certainly don't fight it. Just ride as fast as you can. I planned out the foragers with catching a big runner, and he tips on how to approach this. So that's their scheme. He looks in the tavern's direction, pausing for a moment, and straightens up. Ah, so you're seeking advice from a more experienced hunter. Pats his club proudly. Well, there is the usual stuff. Don't fight hungry, have a decent jacket, be sure to have something to block a bird's charge. Oh, and maybe, he points at the sky, and stretches out his arms as if holding a long stick. A spear. The longer you keep a runner at distance, the better. Why don't you help the foragers? Well, they didn't ask any of our tribesfolk, so I guess we're not welcome. I thought they had realized they weren't fit to be hunters. Ilan is a bit of a sissy, and Zavi takes a longer pause. Would have a hard time finding anyone to hunt with. It's a matter of trust, you say. Sorry, I made that decision for all of you guys. See, I make them on occasion. I will walk away and have a good hunting. I guess all we have is to seek shelter. Or maybe I could go to Ela and see if... Well, no, I believe the only place to sleep is at Foggy Lake. It is at dusk. Which is problematic. So unless we go talk to Ela and find a way to sleep in creeks, we may have to go. Yeah. We can only go to the tavern. You can't sleep here, but there's still time to travel to a safer spot. You can find the closest shelter at Foggy Lake. Thankfully, this part of the peninsula is safer than most. So that's all we can do. We will travel. We'll be back in the morning. The grass in the animal pen has managed to grow back a bit, which your mount welcomes with droopy, relaxed ears. The foragers are inspecting the boat, talking about their recent fishing trip. The taller man welcomes you with a nod. Yep, he did indeed say that. So we will enter the tavern. There's a pleasant scent of chamomile coming from the unusually clear cauldron. Foggy is eating stew from a bowl, but once she sees you, she finishes it with a few large gulps. She welcomes you with a gentle nod. I spoke with Cassius. I wonder why you decide to keep him around. Ha! Do I need a reason? Her amused eyes get thoughtful as she looks at the ceiling. He came here as a poor soul in need, taught only how to use a spear and a shield. I know how it feels to have all that you're good at taken away from you. She straightens up and hits her chest with a fist. But so I know that new paths await us, with or without the help of others. Cassius's legs may be buried in despair, but I'm ready to throw him a shovel once he asks for it. She pauses, then looks through the window. Though these fantasies of his won't help him ask anytime soon, they swallow his thoughts. I have some questions about the peninsula. Is just a ability to ask about places. So the next job, or I have some things I'm willing to part with. Let's see. Do we have anything we can? No, we have nothing to sell. You show her what you have for sale, but she waves her hand. Nah, love. Come back with something I could sell at a profit, or maybe hang on the wall. Yeah, so the next job or sleep. I'm gonna ask this. Still interested? I have a message to Lasson, the innkeeper of Pelt of the North. His place is in the far south. A huge bother for us to get there. A bother worth, let's say, 3 dragons. She sits down on a stool and looks you in the eyes. The scars and wrinkles on her thoughtful face could belong to a statue. Tell him, are we still trading? I'm running out of patience. Remember it well, aye? Bring me the answer, only then you'll get paid. Well, we could say it may be better for you to tell me what this is all about. A negotiation, because you don't pay me well enough, or I'll do it. 1, 2, or 3, you guys tell me, what will it be? Chat, help me. Rhyme intended. What, pay, do? 1, 2, or 3. The chat has started the vote with 3. Sure, easy money. We'll be heading that way soon anyways. Spark wants to negotiate with 2. Count has voted 3, so the 3s are currently in the lead. Spark has changed his mind. The 3s have it by a landslide. So, we'll do it. For 3 dragons, we'll do it. Yeah, it's time to sleep. We sleep now. So, we could sleep in the attic for 2 rations, get our vitality up, lose some stuff here, or we could just sleep on the floor. I'm gonna sleep in the attic. We've got the rations to spare. I'm not worried about it. Let's go. It's fine. The shivers wake you up. Foggy is standing by the open door, letting the dense fog in, with her back lit by a lantern. While she breathes slowly, her eyes are keenly observing the area, and after you focus, you hear the distorted shouts of roaming saurians. Fog tends to get more common in late summer, but the tribes of the Dragonwoods often see them as bad sign. The wild spirits they carry are believed to impact both the visible and the invisible, and not in ways that help mankind. I sigh. If there are any undead in these woods, the fog will strengthen them. Listening to the grunts of the annoyed soda pop makes you feel uneasy, but at least the furs covering the floor are helping you relax. You don't even notice when it's already morning, and while the smell coming from the lower floor is not inviting, at least it's not you who has to take care of it. Foggy turns towards you and waits for you to speak. We're gonna have some food. I would like to eat. She stretches out an arm and grabs a bowl. Give me a moment. You sit down at the clean table. After a moment, the keeper brings you a slice of roasted trout, a boiled egg, and a bowl of broad beans. Once you're done, Foggy packs the leftovers for you as a snack for the rest of the day and mentions that you've already paid for another 2 meals. All right. So we're in good shape now. We have 3 out of 4 vitality. We've got full nourishment. We're actually not that dirty right now. Our armor's as good as it gets, so we're pretty good. It's time for us to go. Now, we could approach the foragers and start off the hunt immediately, or we could go get that lantern and come back. But we know that we have to have enough time in the day to do the hunt. So, it might be best to do the hunt while we're here and then head into Creeks if we have enough time to get to build the lantern. Otherwise, there and back again. What does chat think? It looks like the majority that I have here is like, let's go, let's do the hunt. Yeah, we can get the lantern after we've news of the missing. We don't necessarily need to go clear out that pathway through the mountain immediately. Like, it's fine to go around it for now. Let's approach the foragers. One of them tells a story, but stops once you approach them. Elan's frowns. Admund, Dahlia, and Vashel didn't return from their hunting trip. Did they share any plans with you? Why would they? Growls Zabby. They don't waste our time. We don't bother with theirs. Elaine's eyes are a bit warmer. Ephron already asked us. They ate there, on the stairs, then left, days ago. They didn't want to get in each other's way, so they planned to spread. That's all I know. Seeing your look, he spreads his arms in an awkward shrug. They were laughing, eating, all confident and strong. I didn't know they would disappear. You consider his words when the shorter man starts to snap his fingers. Wait, I heard one thing. Something about, that they won't go north because of the dark magic in the tunnel. Then it's smart of them, concludes Elan with a humble smile. Better than nothing, I'm sure they're fine. So Cassius, your boss told me you have some sort of visions. He meets your eyes and straightens up, reaching out to you with his dirty hand. Do you allow him to touch you, or do you step away? It's fine, just tell me. Kindness or distance, 1 or 2. I have 3 votes for 1. That's practically the majority, but the rest of chat is welcome to weigh in. 4 votes out of 8 people. No, the ones have it by a landslide. Let's go. We will allow him to touch us. It rests on your shoulders, light like a bird. Your nose tells you that he hasn't washed in quite a few days. The right hears the prayers of the people. I mean, of the 10 cities, all the tribes, and the empress, and priests, merchants, farmers. We thought things were lost, the glory behind us, punished by humiliation for our weak hearts. He starts to shake his stump a foot away from your face. But there's hope. His voice gets stronger with every heartbeat, and a wide smile shows up under his beard. The right's test is behind us, and we, the sinners, have failed it. Now are the days of atonement and of the new cities, with new tribes and the cleansed land. We have to fix ourselves. Change what we can, weed out our sins, bring fresh hearts to the holiest soul carrier, and let them guide us anew, with new tablets and prayers and a new church, the only church, yes! He steps in place, bursting with excitement. All the rivers will flow as one wave, and the new cities, the reborn city, will wipe out the barbarians. He spits on the ground and send them back to their chains. He points his hand south. We will come through the ashes, reborn into a power greater than any fortress, than 1,000 dragons, than all the ships and armies. He steps back, lowering his head. I, the humble servant, was granted this vision. So, do we actually nod enthusiastically and say that's great news? Do we do our very first lie and say that's great news? Do we nod and say, I see? Or are we going to claim that he's insane? We have not seen the spiders in the woods yet, Count. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in the middle of the map. Trav says he's a religious fanatic, probably broke when he lost his arm, hence taking out tests and atonement and fixing ourselves. Dangerous. Option 3 is neutral. We can't lie or agree or insult. I have 2 votes for 3, a vote for 4. Looks like the 3s have it, essentially. Oh, I'm pretty sure at least one of them ended up amongst the spiders, Count, but I don't think all of them did. They went in 3 different directions. We will find them in 3 different places. Or we will find their shells in 3 different places. One of the 2. I see, is the answer we are giving this poor Cassius. He gives you a harsh glance, then walks away, nodding. Open your heart, or the wave will take you too. Zavi presses a clenched fist to his lips, stopping himself from laughter, while Ilan looks at the prophet with, don't push him any longer, friend. He told you all that is already. It's possible that one will be in the tunnel, yes. I'm pretty sure that's where the spiders are, too, to be quite frank. Spiders like places like that in games. I don't know why. A little wolf told me you didn't ask any of the hunters to go with you. The shorter man steps away. Who cares? It's us who puts dragons on the table. His larger companion blushes slightly. It's nothing, really. The days are getting colder, so the beasts are getting busy, and some of our friends are already missing. I'd rather pay a stranger to shield us from our prey than put our tribesfolk at risk. You know how it is, friend. All right. They won't be ready to start the hunt for 2 more days. We've got time. So we can do a couple of things here. We can go back to Creeks. It won't take us but 45 minutes. And then we can work on the lantern, maybe do a job. We can go back to the Northern Road and see if we can find a trail there. We can go up northeast of Gale Rocks. We can go south. We can hit up White Marshes. We've got time. What do we want to do, chat? Lantern, northeast, south, or White Marshes? Those are the votes. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Lantern, northeast, south, or White Marsh. I have a vote for Lantern. I have a vote for White Marshes. What does the rest of chat want to do? Two votes for Lantern. I mean, we can get down there, but that would consume our entire day, Trav, and I'd much prefer to do the things that we have immediately in the area and then backtrack our way around. So, Lantern, northeast, south, or White Marshes? I have 2 votes for Lantern currently. 3 votes for Lantern. Looks like the Lanterns have it. So we shall go for the Lantern. A group of woodcutters wave to you from the corpse growing by the river. Both the path and the yard behind the gate bears fresh bloodstains, as well as claw marks. Look for Ela the carpenter. He refuses to work on the lantern with me. Dang it. We're not early enough. I was hoping we would be. I don't know why we're early enough. Nope, nothing there. Nothing there. Yep. All right. Well, that wasted some of our time. Let's go. This actually is the end of my stream. I'm going to leave it here. We've accomplished a lot. This is actually a slightly longer stream than I usually have, and my voice is starting to feel it. So we're going to end here. We're going to stay in Creeks, and next week we will figure out what we're going to be doing from here. We've got so many options. So many options. So thank you guys for joining me. I have appreciated every single one of you in joining me. We don't have any friends to raid today. Sad. But we do have the next 2 days off. So enjoy your guys' weekends. I stream Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. Eastern US time to roughly about 3 p.m., which is currently where it is now. You are welcome to join me. Notably, however, I will be going on vacation Thursday of next week onward and will not be back until the week after. I am going on a week's vacation to celebrate my birthday over the 4th of July. So for those of you who are in the US, if you see some fireworks on the 4th of July, you're celebrating my birthday with me. Congrats to you guys. If you are not in the US for whatever reason, because you are in a saner country than we are, enjoy next Tuesday. It'll be a Tuesday. Woohoo for Tuesday. But yes, I'm letting you guys know in advance from now until I go on vacation that I will be going on vacation, but we will be back on Monday at 1 Eastern US time. If that is not your time zone, feel free to Google what time it would be when I start, and I will look forward to seeing all of you again in a couple of days. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday because it's the weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.